They're gullible morons who'll believe anything and just want to please grown-ups. And they don't have any frame of reference. So they normalize whatever's happening. That's why endlessly talking about gender to 6-year-olds isn't just inappropriate. It's what the law would call entrapment, which means enticing people into doing something they wouldn't ordinarily do. And if you think that some of that isn't going on with gender in schools, you're not watching enough TikTok videos.
I pledge allegiance to the queers.
I'm not allowed to be out as trans non-binary at...
Brace yourself. This one hits hard. Bill Maher has been calling out his own side for years, but lately, he's gone beyond light jabs. He's stepping away, no more comedy as cover, no more softening his punches with satire. Maher says the left is falling apart, and to him, it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. He's not sticking around for the wreck. Hypocrisy, manipulation. Outright madness, what once felt like home, now feels like a haunted house. So, what finally made Maher walk away? And is he looking for a new political home? Let's find out.
Evil governor of Florida was saying the exact same thing about kids and creepy stuff at Disney that liberals now find intolerable at Nickelodeon. He was dismissed as a hick and a bigot, but why would a kids' content factory like Disney be all that different than the one at Nickelodeon? The reason we find pedophiles in the Boy Scouts and the Rectory and kids' TV is that's where the kids are. DeSantis wasn't wrong, but we're so tribal now, the left will overlook child if the guy from the wrong party calls it out.
Bill Maher isn't a right-wing voice. He's been a lifelong liberal, but he says the left has changed, and not for the better. What once stood for truth now hides behind convenience. If a conservative speaks the truth, it's called hate speech. Maher calls it what it is, a smug echo chamber built on loyalty tests and guilt trips. Had enough, and he's walking away with his head high and no apologies.
Believe in social justice have agreed this is wrong and this is bad, and exposing kids to an adult world of lurid costumes and garish makeup borders on abuse. Now hurry up and get in the car, we're late for Drag Queen Story Hour.
This is where Maher goes all in. He says the left talks about love and inclusion, but behind the scenes, it's full of vanity, vice, and twisted priorities. They claim to protect kids, yet push them toward adult themes as if it's some kind of woke rite of passage. Maher argues there's nothing noble about dragging children into gender politics or exposing them to hypersexualized events. To him, it's not about carrots, about control. He sees the obsession with moral superiority as a cover for something rotten at the core. He's done playing along. In his eyes, this isn't progress, it's perversion with a smile.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a drag queen, but maybe it's time to admit that sometimes Drag Queen Story Hour is more for the queen than the kids. Sure, kids love a clown, but does the clown have to have tits?
This one might slip past most liberals, but not Bill Maher. He says Drag Queen Storytime isn't about reading, it's about exposure. Grown men in wigs and heels performing for children under the banner of tolerance. Maher argues it was never about education or celebrating diversity. It's about adults seeking validation, not kids gaining anything meaningful. To him, this isn't empathy, it's ego, not characterized clout. And everyone involved knows it. But if you question it, you're instantly branded a transphobe. Maher's felt that heat himself, but he's done staying quiet. He's voicing what millions think. Stop using kids as props.
And when I see a 5-year-old tipping at a bar under a sign that says it's not going to lick itself, do I have to pretend that's cool in order to keep my liberal ID card? Sorry, I can't do that. If you want kids to be more tolerant, why not have handicapped people read them stories? Kids are more likely to encounter disabled people than drag queens in life. Geez, can't we just go back to the good old days when kids were read simple stories with simple morals like, if you're a lonely single man, just make a boy out of wood?
Remembers when kid stories were simple about kindness, courage, and truth. Now, he says, they're filled with pronouns, rainbows, and climate guilt before recess. To him, Storytime has become a political battlefield where even picture books push ideology. Childhood, once a safe haven, is now part of the culture war. Maher's done watching kids be used as pawns.
Said it before, wokeness is not an extension of liberalism anymore. It's more often taking something so far that it becomes the opposite. Teaching kids not to hate or judge those who are different, great. Proud we got there, all for that. But at a certain point, inclusion becomes promotion. And contrary to current progressive dogma, children aren't miniature adults wise beyond their years, they're morons.
Maher says the problem isn't just on the fringes, it runs to the top. He's blasting Democratic heavyweights like AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Gavin Newsom, calling them the high priests of the woke movement. Bernie, once railing against millionaires, now targets billionaires after cashing in himself. Newsom let homes burn in Pacific Palisades to save a fish, and AOC suggests you're a misogynist if you didn't vote for Kamala. This isn't Leadership Pit's political cosplay. He refuses to pledge loyalty to what he calls a cult of recycled slogans and TikTok activism. In his eyes, it leads only to division, dysfunction, and disaster. He's not joining their woke funeral parade.
Morons who'll believe anything and just want to please grown-ups. And they don't have any frame of reference. So they normalize whatever's happening. That's why endlessly talking about gender to 6-year-olds isn't just inappropriate. It's what the law would call entrapment, which means enticing people into doing something they wouldn't ordinarily do. For example, after 9/11, there were several cases of overzealous federal agents leading sad losers into terrorist plots, like the undercover FBI agent who got 7 out-of-work dudes in Liberty City, Florida, to sign on to a plot to the Sears Tower in Chicago. Oh, please, these guys didn't even have a gun.
Maher's no conservative but on kids. Drag shows for kids, hormones for teens. Pronoun flashcards in kindergarten, the left shrugs. Maher doesn't. When a lifelong liberal echoes conservatives on children's issues, he says it's not a shift, it's a warning. The left didn't just lose him, they lost the plot. Next voice more, remembers when being straight wasn't controversial. Now, he says, the left treats it like a relic of the patriarchy. Loving your spouse and raising kids is framed as even hateful, defend it, and you're labeled a bigot. Straight Americans, especially men, have become the go-to punching bag. Full stop.
You think that some of that isn't going on with gender in schools? You're not watching enough TikTok videos.
I pledge allegiance to the queers.
I'm not allowed to be out as trans non-binary at school. My response to this is to be as obnoxiously queer as possible.
There's a certain kind of activist these days who wants to take heterosexuality, old school, old-fashioned, boring, minding its own business heterosexuality, and lump it in with patriarchy and sexism and racism and tell kids, wouldn't it be cool if you were anything but that?
For years, conservatives were mocked for warning about a hidden push to embed LGBTQ+ themes into kids' media. Maher now says they were right. He admits he once laughed it off until a Disney executive openly bragged about quietly inserting those themes, not for tolerance but to shape the culture. Maher was floored and furious. He says he's been duped, gaslit, and now he's sounding the alarm. In his view, this isn't about rights, it's about reprogramming. And while he's warning, the left refuses to listen.
I used the phrase gay agenda because I thought it was mostly nonsense, and it is, mostly. But a director for Disney television animation did say after she was hired,
the showrunners were super welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness. No one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
Look, I'm all for adding queerness wherever. I put some in my drink before I came out here tonight. But maybe we should think about giving kids a break from our culture war.
Bill Maher backed Democrats for decades, but now the party makes him cringe. He says they've gone off the rails, allowing biological men in women's sports and bathrooms. To him, that's not progress. It's anti-woman, anti-science, and anti-irality. Maher isn't just annoyed, he's embarrassed. These were his people, and now he sees a circus of bad ideas. Come 2028, he's not sure he can vote Democrat again, unless they snap out of what he calls a fever dream and return to basic sanity. but he doubts the odds.
You want to win my vote, don't give me the ick. You know what the ick is, right? It's a term mostly used in the dating world to describe that moment when one of the people, usually the man, does something so icky that the woman cannot forgive it or forget it. Like sending a pic or being mean to the waitress, paying for dinner with a coupon, getting his mother to call you when you dump him, asking for in baby voice. Once you give her the ick, it's a wrap.
Near the end of his monologue, Maher brings up Robert F. Kennedy Jr., lifelong Democrat who left the party to go independent after seeing what Maher says he sees now. A party that's lost its mind and its soul. Maher isn't saying he's joining the GOP, but he's not ruling it out either. He's testing the waters, feeling out his audience, and making it clear if Democrats keep drifting into absurdity, he might jump ship. And if that happens, the left's meltdown will be massive. He's not some eager conservative convert looking for a Fox News slot. He's a liberal realist who's done watching his party trade logic for emotion, treat facts as offensive, and crown victimhood as the highest virtue. From double standards to the war on childhood, he's had enough. Maher isn't switching sides. To join a new tribe, he's leaving because he says the truth has been exiled on the left. And while you won't see him in a MAGA hat, you also won't see him waving what he calls the rainbow flag of ideological insanity. Is in freefall land, he just cut the last tether.